This video is sponsored by Supply Handlers. The Xabi Alonso era is finally up and running. The Spaniard was hired to take over as head coach of Chelsea this summer, and after what has felt like a pretty lengthy wait, he has finally got his first signing. A lot of fans thought it would be Álex Grimaldo considering his relationship with the gaffer and Cucurella's departure, but it turned out that Chelsea had their eyes on a completely different man, a young player named Marco Palestra. We know that many of you had never heard of this guy prior to this signing, so we're here to tell you all you need to know about him and why Chelsea went for him instead of the likes of Grimaldo. This is why Chelsea signed Marco Palestra. First of all, a lot of people have not been able to make sense of this one. Marco Palestra is a right back or right wing back, but one could say that that's not what Chelsea needs right now, considering they have Reece James and Malo Gusto in that position. Everyone was looking at them to sign a left back to replace Cucurella, but they went for this guy instead. Well, this is the point where we tell you that Palestra is very two-footed. He can pass, cross and shoot with both his left and his right, which makes him great on both flanks. Although primarily used on the right, he has actually been used to good effect on the left. So there's a huge possibility that Alonso is looking to convert the young man in his system. And speaking of Alonso's system, Palestra seems just perfect for it. He is coming from a Cagliari team that played with 3 at the back in the just concluded season, which allowed him to play pretty high up the pitch as a right wing back. And well, we know that Alonso loves to play with 3 at the back, so it makes sense that the first signing of his new tenure is a wing back. Yeah, we think that there's a possibility that he'll be used on the left, but there's also a possibility that he has been bought to actually play in his preferred position, which is on the right. Alonso could use Reece James in his back 3 or in the midfield, which will leave Gusto and Palestra as the 2 right wing back options. And guess what? Palestra is just 21 years old, so he fits perfectly into the recruitment philosophy of the new Chelsea owners. They have made it their identity to only go for young players since they took over, so it makes sense that they went for Palestra over Grimaldo, who is already in his 30s. But of course, the Italian wingback wasn't just signed because he's young, he's actually a top player, and if you have watched him, you can see why Chelsea decided to bet on him. He is a really fast player with quick feet and an irresistible flair. If the Chelsea owners wanted a man who would get everyone off their seat at Stamford Bridge, they have got just the right man. He is a very good dribbler and entertainer, and in the 2025-26 season, he completed the second most dribbles in the Serie A, behind only Kenan Yildiz and way ahead of the likes of top wingers like Rafael Leao. So right off the bat, you can see what Alonso is going for here, a player who can really dazzle and make something happen going forward. With how good he is in the attack, even if Alonso decides to use a 4-3-3 formation, Palestra is a player he can still trust to play as a winger, and he's a bit like Hazard in that he knows how to win fouls, which can be a very useful tactical tool for the team. He was the most fouled player in the just concluded Serie A season. He won over 100 fouls, 26 more than the next guy. That's just insane. A player like this can be great for when you want to kill the momentum of the opponents, manage a game, or manufacture chances via set pieces. He is also a really good ball carrier, which is a department where he'll be a massive upgrade on Gusto at least. The Frenchman is fast for sure, but he's not exactly the best at progressively carrying the ball, but Palestra, that's his domain. He was top 5 for most 10+ meter progression carries in the Italian top flight this season. And what makes him even better is that his carries often end up in goals, assists, chances created, or shots. Essentially, this kid is a very lethal attacking tool, one that could really change things for Chelsea. But what makes him a complete package is the fact that he is also really solid defensively. In the 2025-26 season, Marco Palestra won 233 ground duels, more than any other player in the Italian top flight. He was also first in the league for most total duels won, so he might be young, but he's not a player you can just bully off the ball. He is also super fast, and that of course is a trait you need if you're going to be playing in the Premier League these days. He will have to run up and down the flank a lot, and with how fast he is and how much endurance he has, that doesn't seem like it'll be much of a problem for him. With this combination of great dribbling skills, speed, strength, and a top carrying ability, it is generally very difficult to get the ball off Marco Palestra. He's also not a player you can get past very easily. He was dribbled past only 20 times in 37 appearances in the Serie A this season, which is a very good average for a fullback or a wingback who's sure to come up against pacey and skillful wingers a lot of times. Marco Palestra is really a top player. and if he's going to be playing as a right wing back, you can see how much his work rate and physicality will help Cole Palmer. And more specifically, when you look at what the Chelsea team lacks and needs, you see why exactly they went for Palestra. That team lacks pace, power and height, and with this one signing they have solved that problem to a large extent. Palestra is super strong and physical. He stands over 6 feet, and he will now be one of the fastest players in the squad. A player like this should certainly improve them when they attack and defend set pieces. It's here. The Goal 90 Mastery mat has landed, built for the next generation of footballers. More control, faster feet, sharper confidence. With the Goal 90 app, every session is guided, every touch has purpose. Train at home, train every day. Level up in just 20 minutes. Launch offer is live, 30% off, plus free worldwide shipping. Don't miss the drop. Order now at Goal 90 Shop. Now, one thing we know about Xabi Alonso is that he always needs a right wing back who is super fast and can manipulate the ball very quickly and easily. This is why Jeremy Frimpong was one of the most important pieces of his Leverkusen puzzle. It could also explain why Trent wasn't exactly his favourite at Real Madrid. A player like Palestra is his dream, and he is a player who can do what most of these modern fullbacks are asked to do. These days we see coaches asking their fullbacks to make darts into the box and act as extra attackers. Hakimi and Nuno Mendes do this at PSG, Nico O'Reilly and Gvardiol do this at City, and of course Calafiori does this at Arsenal. If Xabi Alonso wants to do this at Chelsea, Palestra is a player who can play that role perfectly, surely more than gusto. Essentially, a player like Palestra offers Alonso a lot of tactical flexibility, and we believe that Chelsea have just got themselves a top player here. The 21-year-old Italian seemed like he was on his way to Inter Milan this summer, but Chelsea stepped in and snatched him, reaching an agreement for a €55 million package with Atalanta. And we have to say that it is a good deal for a player his age and with his abilities. I mean, this is a player that just got named Serie A Best Defender of the 2025-26 season. Surely, paying €55 million for him in the current market is not crazy at all. I guess the only question we have here is where exactly he is going to play. We just have not been able to figure that part out quite yet. Was he brought in as the Cucurella replacement? That would be an interesting one if he was. But if indeed Alonso has brought him in as a right wing-back option, does he intend to start him right away or ease him into the squad? If he plans to start him, what would that mean for Reece James and Malo Gusto? These are questions that need to be addressed, but time will surely give us the answers. Anyway, it is now time to hear from you guys. What do you think about this signing? Is he really going to elevate this Chelsea team? Chelsea fans, are you excited about this one? Who do you want the club to sign next? Get in the comments and talk to us. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.